Hey, what's up, guys? This is Elo Speaks back again on another video. So far, as we know, the Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Phoenix Suns in Game 6 of the NBA playoffs, and right now, the world is in like shock right now that it happened. I wanted to talk about LeBron James' legacy as a whole and what this means for him moving forward. So far, the Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Phoenix Suns. They had a great contribution from Chris Paul. Devin Booker went off for 47 points. Jay Crowder did his thing. He had clutch threes in the game. And they also have a lot of contribution from other players as well. So they're going to be moving on to the next round to face the Denver Nuggets. Good luck to them. I wish them the best of luck in the playoffs. So when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers, we don't know where they go on from here. But that's a video for another day. But I wanted to talk about specifically LeBron James and what this means for his legacy. Now, as we know, LeBron James fans in the media are one of the most toxic and pervasive fans that I've ever witnessed so far. And when it comes to them, they were already setting up excuses and making up narratives about how LeBron James was going to win the title, how LeBron James is going to steamroll, how LeBron James is going to do all this nonsense. So they were already trying to set narratives in place for LeBron James. They thought that he was going to go Game 6 like he did in 2012 Boston series, but he couldn't because that was when he was younger, and now he's a little bit older. He's 36, and he's going to be turning 37 in December, and he's getting a lot older, and he's in year 18, and he's just not the same no more. I grant you, I get that, and the Lakers were dealing with injuries. That's fair. But what I've heard from Los Angeles Lakers fans so much is that LeBron James has never lost in the first round. Michael Jordan has lost 3 times in the first round, even though they don't add context to how and why Jordan lost in the first round, even though he was a lower seed going up against a top level seed in the Eastern Conference that year while he was playing with cokeheads. But that's a story for another day. But when it comes to LeBron James, they continue to make excuses for him and narratives for him propagated through the media, so that way people have to eat that garbage that they spew out all the damn time. But when it comes to this, there's no more. LeBron James never got knocked out in the first round. It happened. It is what it is. You could argue the injuries, they probably would have won. You could argue, well, without the injuries, they could have lost. But so far, they lost. It is what it is. There was poor play all around, specifically with LeBron James. Dennis Schroeder was trash. Kuzma was trash. I think Caruso was injured. KCP, he was trash, but he was injured as well. And we all know AD, he tried to go out there and give it a go, but his groin just was in too much pain. I think he should have never went out there, but I guess that he felt the pressure from the media, as people like Charles Barkley calling him street clothes, so he felt like he had to owe it to his team to like go out there and try to see it, give it a go, but he just wasn't effective, and possibly injured it even worse, like going out there. I don't think he should have went out there in the first place. I think the doctor should have never cleared him to play, but I think he probably wanted to go out there and see what he could do. But best recovery to him. But when it comes to LeBron James, people were saying if he were to lose in the first round, what would this mean for his legacy? What would this mean for his quote-unquote GOAT debate? But already said to me, there's no GOAT debate. It's an entertaining conversation to have. I have good laughs with it, but there's no GOAT conversation. Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, and bar none. It doesn't matter what LeBron James could do at this point, he's never going to pass MJ. But for shits and giggles, if right now him getting knocked out in the first round, people are saying that this doesn't affect his legacy. It doesn't affect his legacy at all. There's no ding to it at all. Blah blah. His legacy already set in stone. And I hate when people say that, because if he would have miraculously pulled this off, people would have been praising him. They would have been celebrating him. They would have saying this is one of the best performances. Look what he did. He carried his team to the next round. Blah blah. But whenever LeBron James loses, falls short, doesn't get the job done, this doesn't affect his legacy. His legacy is set in stone. Well, you have to add context and ask the question, if his legacy is set in stone in terms of what he's accomplished, then why there's even a conversation? This is the problem what I have with LeBron James fanboys. whenever he succeeds, this elevates him, just get him closer to Jordan. Or for some extreme fanboys, this puts him over Jordan. But when he loses, when he fails, oh, this doesn't affect his legacy. This doesn't ding his legacy. This doesn't damper his legacy. Is already set in stone. This, that, and it's just like annoying when you hear that. It's like LeBron James can't fail in their eyes. Nothing he does is failure in their eyes. Everything is happenstance or a bad break, or LeBron James got bad luck. When same thing happened all the other times. I could go back to all the times LeBron James had lucky breaks when he won, but I'm not gonna do that. But they were saying the same thing as regards to his title last year. Like, to be honest, that was a fluky on the spot title. Like, I don't count that bubble championship. He was going against an injured team. They were harping on the fact that his team was injured and he didn't count a goal. But when the Miami Heat, two of their best players went down, you didn't hear a peep out of Lakers fans at all. Not one peep when their injury. Talking about Bam Adebayo and Dragic. When they got down, nobody cared. As long as LeBron James won, that was the main narrative. They don't care who they went. They don't care if they went up against the Washington Generals. As long as LeBron James was able to win and hoist a fake championship, they were down for it. So I don't want to hear nothing about LeBron James had to deal with injuries throughout the season. Everybody was dealing with injuries throughout the season. It's part of the game. It is what it is. And that's just life. You're going to have to make it happen. I'm not saying, like, that it didn't play a huge factor. It did, but come on now. Like, everybody was playing with injuries. Even the Suns, they had CP3. He couldn't stay healthy within the playoffs either. He did his best to, like, try to go out there, and the coach was trying to bench him for playing, and he still went out there and played. So I don't want to hear no excuses from LeBron. What I see from LeBron was poor class, poor sportsmanship, poor leadership. He was crass. He was showboating. Whenever he was winning, he was showboating. He was dogging. He was posting. When he was posting up Jay Crowder, he was laughing in his face. He was clowning him because of the comments that were said about AD. But then when on the other hand, when the shoe was on the other foot, LeBron James didn't like that. And you already know how LeBron James is. When he starts losing, he feels like he can't win. He starts to mope. He starts to show poor leadership qualities. He sits away from his teammates. He denigrates his teammates. He finger blames. He does all that. He left 5 minutes in the left with the fourth quarter versus the Suns in Game 5. That was poor leadership right there. You left your team hanging to deal with that BS of a game that you were a part of when it was getting blown out by 30 points. That's your fault. And then after that, when they lost in Game 6, he was sitting by himself, far away from everybody, showing poor leadership as usual. And then after that, when the game was over, he left the arena without shaking none of the Suns players' hands, which is, of course, poor sportsmanship. I don't expect that I don't expect LeBron James. I already think he's a poor leader as well, but just him doing that just shows what type of person he is overall. He's a front runner. I've been saying that for a long time, that LeBron James is a front runner. Whenever he's winning, whenever he's doing good, he likes to front run. But when he starts losing, he shows his true colors. He shows his true character. He has poor class. He has poor sportsmanship. And that's part of the reason why it's like he has a lot of detractors, because of how he conducts himself, kind of like feminine like. So he didn't shake no one's hands, but I'm pretty sure if he was winning, he would have stayed his ass there and shook hands with a team that had lost to him. But you already know how LeBron James operates, and his media fanboys are not going to call that out in the media. They're going to brush it off and say it is what it is. And that's what infuriates LeBron James' detractor, because y'all hold him to this GOAT standard of being up there with Michael Jordan. But when he fails, y'all don't want to hold him to the high scrutiny that he deserves. So me personally, I think just conversation alone, this dings his legacy is a mark, because he's trying to reach Michael Jordan, and the fact that he fell short is a wasted season overall. He's 36 years old in year 18. He's going to be another year older, and he's not going to get any better than this. Not sure he's going to still play great and be a top 10 player in the league, but sooner or later, Father Time is tapping him right now, but sooner or later it's gonna like really put a foot in his ass, and I want to see what he's gonna do then, because right now he's not the most impactful player on the team. Anthony Davis is, and Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. And if Anthony Davis can't stay healthy, then their title hopes are basically gone, because LeBron James can only do so much. And when I saw that Game 6, he looked winded and tired, like straight up tired. And they're gonna have to overhaul that whole team and try to get in some new pieces to see what they could do to help LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because with the team that currently constructed right now, they're not gonna win a championship, not next year anyway. So that's what I think about the situation. I just think that I don't want to hear no excuses, no nothing. Straight up loss. They got blown out. They got defeated. It is what it is. His legacy is going to take a huge hit from this, because Michael Jordan would have never allowed something like this to happen in the peak of his prime. Not early MJ, but in the peak of his prime. He would have never lost in the first round after winning a championship. No way that he'll do that. MJ will never do something like that. And that's what just separates from him and LeBron James. They're just two different people. Not saying that LeBron James is not great. He's just not on the level of Michael Jordan. And it is what it is. That's just how it's going to be. He's always going to be a level below Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan just brought things to the table that LeBron James just don't bring. And, people got to deal with that. Now, if you think Michael Jordan is not the GOAT and LeBron is, hey, that's your personal opinion. But consensus say it's going to be Michael Jordan, and the eye test say it's going to be Michael Jordan. I don't care how long LeBron James play. I don't care how many points, rebounds, assists he put. I don't care about the stat padding. That's all he's doing is stat padding. When it comes down to it, it's about the championship and what he do in the biggest moment. And every time LeBron James at the biggest moment, for the most part, he flames out. And that's why he has 6 championship final losses on his record. And that right there is the reason why I can never put him above or at the level of Michael Jordan. But those are my opinions. Let me know yours down in the comment section down below. This is Ito Speaks out.